If you've been following along with our podcast, you know that the best way to get a lot of points quickly is through credit card sign-up bonuses, which are structured like get 100,000 points after spending $3,000 in 3 months, for example. It is imperative that you don't accidentally miss this deadline, since that introductory bonus period is your best way to earn a lot of points. Use the Travel Freely app to send you reminders about upcoming bonus deadlines so that you never miss out on tens of thousands of points. You can download the free Travel Freely app by using the link in the show notes. Thank you to Travel Freely for partnering with us on this episode of the Geobreeze Travel Podcast. Welcome to the Geobreeze Travel Podcast, a show for anyone wanting to level up their travel hacking lifestyle. I'm your host, Julia Menez. I'm a travel hacker, coach, speaker, Filipino-American ENTJ who loves solid travel gear and using shortcuts on spreadsheets. On this show, I'm on a mission to bring you travel hackers from all walks of life to help you level up your travel hacking game. We dive into credit cards, miles, points, strategy, mindset, and the secrets behind how to travel the world for next to no cost. So let's get hacking.
First of all, you're going to want to focus on your lodging and your flights if you need your flights. Focus on those two. And then if you can hack some of the ticket cost or food or Uber, Lyft, whatever, anything like that, that's super bonus to me. But just to cut out the hotel stay, when we went as a family in 2020, March of 2020, we had 5 nights at a Marriott. It wasn't super fancy, but it was close enough for us to walk to the parks. And it was free, 5 nights free. So that took like a big chunk. And then when my husband and I went to Disney World this past March 2021, we had Hilton points that we used for 5 nights at the Waldorf Astoria.
Lori from Lori's Family Travel is a wife and mom of 4 kids living in Phoenix, Arizona. She loves cooking and creating, chocolate chip cookies, and home improvement projects. She is constantly thinking about where her family can travel next, but of course, always on a budget. In this episode, Lori and I discuss a highly requested topic: how can you do a Disney vacation on points and miles? We discuss how to do hotels, park tickets, where to find cheaper souvenir options, and more. Whether your dream trip is Disney World, Europe, the South Pacific, or somewhere else, points and miles can make it more affordable. If you are a beginner and not sure where to start, I offer personalized coaching to help you with your travel goals. We will put together a personalized 12-month strategy on points and miles, and you'll also get a couple of video calls with me and a monthly check-in and personalized support whenever you have any questions about how to earn or redeem your miles. Sign up for an introductory chat using the link in the show notes. And now, on with the show. Hey, Lori, welcome to the Geobreeze Travel Podcast.
Hi, Julia. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. We are so excited to have you here and to learn all about your Disney trips and Disney tricks, because I've had so many people ask, how do you travel hack Disney? And I'm like, I don't know, I've never done that. So we are going to get all of the tips and tricks from you today. But before we get into that, tell us a little bit about how you got started. How did you discover points and miles? Tell us all about the background.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm pretty new, but in 2017, I figured out just like on my own, I was like, if I get that City Advantage card, we can get free flights, free American Airlines flights to Utah for a weekend for me and my husband. And so I did that. And then a little bit later that year, I started an online women's clothing boutique. And so I went with the Capital One Venture card because people had recommended that to me, just word of mouth. And so those were kind of what got me going, but I feel like I've always just been into finding deals. Like I love deals. I just love deals. It's fun for me. And that's just how I was raised, just to get a good deal. So, but those two things were kind of what got me started. And then I think, oh yeah, 2019 is when I was like, okay, I really just want to go to Disneyland as a family. We haven't taken the kids yet. They were at the perfect ages, but we're on a budget. So I started researching and I just started like kind of dabbling in it. I wouldn't even say like going crazy yet, but I just kind of figured out a few things. So that's when I opened a few cards and did that first family Disney trip. And then during the pandemic, when we had so much downtime, that's when I found all of you on Instagram and I fell in love and I was like, okay, I think this is my favorite hobby ever because this is amazing. Like, I don't know. So it's just kind of progressively gotten more and more, I guess.
That makes sense. When you were first getting started, did you make any points and miles mistakes where you're wanting to say, hey, audience, don't make this mistake like I did?
Oh my word, yes. First of all, I hacked very, very small. We went as a girls trip. So my sisters and then sister-in-laws, we went to Disneyland and I was like, I'm going to open up that Disney credit card cuz you get $200 back. So I did, and it helped me pay for my tickets, but then as time went on, I'm like, why did I get that card? And I didn't stop there. I got some other cards that, like, I got the Kroger MasterCard where I got $75 in free groceries. I'm like, why? But I didn't know. At the time, I was just kind of like on my own, just kind of figuring some of these things out. I had no clue about the Chase 524 rule. And so quickly, though, I learned, oh my gosh, I really have to be careful what cards I open. So I would just say, be really intentional about what cards you want to open because otherwise you'll be waiting around like I have. I'm actually almost out of 524 gel, so that's super exciting, but it kind of stinks like not being able to get the cards that you really really want. So, that's my big thing.
For sure. Oh, that 524 will get you, especially if you've just opened a lot of store cards before you even learn about this hobby. But that's exciting. At least the time will pass. It's not like a forever thing. Eventually, you'll be out of 524 jail and you can get all of the cool offers. And now you know how to get the good offers where it's not like, okay, like, do I get the Hilton or do I get the Marriott? Since you've been sitting in this like penalty box, you've been doing all of the research. And then now when you have a plan.
Yes, that's exactly.
Cool. So when you first were getting started, you said you just started grabbing all of these store cards, right? And it wasn't very like one card at a time. Did you grab multiple cards at a time?
You know what? I kind of started slow. I did get the fries card, but I did get, like, my husband and I both got the Chase Freedom Unlimited. So that was a good one. I'm still happy with that one. But I had gotten a Bank of America something something card that I really just wanted it for the $200 bonus, right? So looking back though, I'm like, why did I do that?
Fair enough. So what's the plan once you're out of 524 jail? What are you going to jump on?
Okay, that's a super good question. I think this Chase Sapphire Preferred has got me excited. I'm supposed to be out of jail here in like 2 or 3 weeks. So I don't know if it will still be going on, or I may just go for, I think it's the Chase Inc. Cash, business cash, or something like that.
Because that's awesome that you have a small business as well, because that opens up a whole bunch of options for you to get business credit cards if you're under 5 over 24 for Chase, because those cards are subject to but don't apply towards 5 over 24, which is nice. Have you been able to open Amex cards while you were in 524 jail? Amex business cards?
No, no, haven't done any business cards. And really, my business kind of really took a hit during COVID. And so I am not doing it the way that I was. So that's something that I kind of need to think about exactly what direction I'm going to go with that. But I have, yeah, so we haven't gotten any of the Amex business cards. But my husband, we did get him the Amex Platinum earlier this year when we had the 125,000 sign up. So that was exciting. And we haven't used any of those points. I don't even know what we're going to use those for, Julia, but I was like, we're doing this because I want these points for something big. So,
I mean, if he refers you to Amex, you can get from North America to Europe in business class for 88,000 or 80,000 points per person. So that's pretty
that's
cool.
that's amazing. See, I love hearing this stuff. That's amazing.
Yeah. or no, it is 88,000 and it's by transferring Amex points to ANA Airways and you can get some pretty cool hacks that way.
Okay, very good to know. Thank you.
Of course. And so speaking of good hacks, let's start talking about the Disney World and Disneyland hacks. So if somebody were just to come up and say, "How do I travel hack Disney World or Disneyland or whichever one you prefer?" What would you say?
I would say, first of all, you're going to want to focus on your lodging and your flights if you need your flights. Focus on those two. And then if you can hack some of the ticket cost or food or Uber, Lyft, whatever, anything like that, that's super bonus to me. But just to cut out the hotel stay, when we went as a family in 2020, March of 2020, we had 5 nights at a Marriott. It wasn't super fancy, but it was close enough for us to walk to the parks. And it was free, 5 nights free. So that took like a big chunk. And then when my husband and I went to Disney World this past March 2021, we had Hilton points that we used for 5 nights at the Waldorf Astoria. And so, again, I think being able to get that lodging for free is incredible. And then we're in Arizona, so we don't really need flights to Disneyland. We may at some point, but to Disney World, we had our flights covered almost 100%. So just with those two alone, it's just crazy how much you can save. And then I just feel like if there's anything on top of that you can save, it's total bonus. But I wouldn't go crazy trying to hack every last penny because that just gets nuts. But I'd say focus on the big things, which is lodging, flights, and then if you can hit some of the tickets, that's awesome too.
Let's go back a little bit to the Disneyland Marriott hotel. What hotel was that?
That was a Spring Hill Suite. I think it had another name. There's like two of them right close to each other. It was a Spring Hill Suites something, just right like point 0.7 miles away from the park. So in the morning we would walk, and then in the evening we would Uber for like $6 our whole family because we were tired back. So super close.
That's so cool. And I think a lot of people always wonder, are there hotels in the park that are like Disney themed hotels or anything? Do you know of any that you can get with points and miles?
In Disneyland, they no, not that I know of. I do know of someone shared with me one in Disney World, and I have it bookmarked somewhere. I think it's the Swan, and I can't
Yes.
remember who it's affiliated with, but I think it's the Swan. It might be Marriott.
I think it is Marriott and it's a category 6. There's 2 hotels. There's like the Swan and the Dolphin. One of
Okay.
them's a Sheraton, one of them's a Westin, and then you can get them for free. They're like on property, they're like Disney themed and whatever with Marriott points or Marriott certificates if you have one of the 50 free night certificates. So 50,000 free nights. So yeah, lots of different ways to stay on the park using those.
Yeah, and honestly, that was so cool to learn because if you could stay on property at Disney World, that's a huge help. Huge.
For sure. All right. So we talked about hotels and lodging and flights. Talk about park tickets. Is there a way to get your park tickets for free?
There totally is. There's a few things that I this last trip that my husband and I took, we had done 2 bank bonuses, one each that gave us 250, so that was 500. And then I just like to save my cash back rewards from my Costco payouts and the Rakuten. We still haven't switched my husband's to Amex because I like the cash back, but I know Amex is better. But so I like to save those cash back bonuses and then put that towards the tickets because the tickets are harder to hack. But I will tell you something really cool that I did also this last time. So the last 2 times I've bought our tickets from Getaway Today. I'm not affiliated with them by any means, but I love them. They're fantastic. And they code is travel. So if you have like a Capital One venture, I haven't done this, but if you have a Capital One venture, you would be able to use that purchase eraser for your tickets if you're going through Getaway Today. I know that there's other travel agencies too. That's just kind of the one that I've used and been really happy with. But also, Getaway Today let me pay with more than one card this last time. So I had actually gone and gotten gift cards, Visa gift cards, and I used three different ones. And I had called them beforehand to say, hey, can I use multiple gift cards to pay for our tickets? And they're like, of course. So, super easy way to earn just a few extra points. They all add up.
Yeah, that's a really good trick. So, Getaway Today is a travel agency where you can book your Disney park tickets, because if you book your park tickets just directly, they don't code as travel. They code as entertainment or something.
Right.
So if you go through a travel agent, then they'll code as travel. You can use things like your Capital Rewards points, like you mentioned, Chase Cashback. If you have the Chase Sapphire Preferred, that $300 travel credit, you can just apply
Yeah.
towards them.
That's a good idea. See, I hadn't even thought about that. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's such a good idea too, where you're getting all of these like Visa gift cards that you can buy from either like a grocery, or you have the Chase Ink Business Cash Card. You can just go to Staples, buy the 5X, or buy the fee-free gift cards for 5X. So all of these different ways to either get these tickets for free or earn a bunch of points in order to get these tickets.
Yeah. I mean, you might as well earn as much as you can, right? If you're going to spend the money, might as well maximize your point earning. So, yeah.
For sure. And so what about when you're in the park? How about like food? And I haven't been to Disney World in a while. What else do people spend money in the parks? I feel like people go to Disney and money just disappears. How do you kind of find deals there?
Okay. So, when we went as a family, I did buy some Disney gift cards because I was earning, I don't remember exactly what I was earning, but I know I was earning fuel rewards and points and some from some card. I can't remember, but I did buy some gift cards with that. You just have to be careful that you don't overbuy. So I'd kind of added up like how much this meal will cost, how much this meal will cost. And I kind of did a rough estimate and then I went a little under. So we did use gift cards that way. But I know some people like to eat at Starbucks because you can actually use Starbucks gift cards in Disneyland or at Disney Springs. So that's kind of a cool hack that I learned. But the food, I feel like you just out of pocket it for the most part. It's hard to get. Now, if you do have the Disney credit card, there's some type of a perk, but I don't know. For me, I'm not at Disneyland that often enough for that card to be super good for me, but for some people, maybe it is. But food, I feel like you're just kind of throwing them out.
Something that we did when we went to Disney World when I was like 10, because we were like not wanting to spend any money. You can bring your own food into the park. And so, whatever food hacks you have outside of the Disney World property, whether it's using an Amex Gold credit for some Grubhub or some Shake Shack or something, or just using your normal restaurant gift cards to get like Cheesecake Factory or something, you can do that and bring it into containers. Just can't be glass containers, but you can bring containers into Disney World and picnic there if you wanted to hack food that way. You're carrying a backpack full of food. If you're my family, you are carrying a backpack of like 7 people's worth of rice and adobo and barbecue skewers. Yeah, we were. And that people walked up to us and they're like, "Where did you get this?" And as if we like bought it in the park, and we're like, "Ha, we brought it from home." Hey there, points people. Are you interested in learning some next level tips about cards, airlines, hotels, stacking, where to find award availability, and more? Check out the Patreon at patreon.com/geobreeze travel. There, you'll find recordings of all of my monthly masterclass hangouts, as well as some special bonus content. And now, we are also doing some gift card giveaways each month to some lucky Patreon members. Check out the show notes for the link to join. This week's Patreon shout out goes out to Melissa. Thank you so much for being a part of the Geobreeze Travel Patreon community.
I love that. And I'm so glad that you brought that up because I have done that so many times. And actually, yeah, you reminding me when we went as a family, I had like planned out these snack bags for the kids and It really does help. I'm so glad that you brought that up because that is the best way to save money on food, honestly. Just bring your own.
You can bring your own, pack your sandwiches, use all your food hacks from the outside world, bring it into Disney. Just make sure it's in a not glass container, and you're good to go there.
Yeah,
All right.
I love that. I'm so glad you brought that up.
What about other expenses? What else do people spend money on once you enter the park?
That's a good question too. I feel like in my teenage, younger college years, I wanted souvenirs. Now I don't feel like I need anything really. Like I want good treats to put in my backpack and like eat later on, or I'm into like the fun treats now, but I don't know. Our kids, they spent a little on souvenirs, but actually we kinda went there's a really good Walgreens across from the street from that Spring Hill Suites that we stayed at that has the best Disney merch that is so cheap. So, I had been there before, and so I told my kids, like, "We're gonna go down here before we go to Disneyland, and you can just pick out some things," hoping that they would kinda spend their money there so that when they got in the park, they wouldn't get total sticker shocked, but that's a really good one. The Target too in Anaheim, I have not been there, but apparently that one is a really good one too for Disney merch as well.
Nice merch outside of the park. Do you know how stuff codes in the park? Like if you're going to restaurants or like buying souvenirs in the park, what does it code as? Travel, entertainment, restaurants? Do you know?
I wanna say it might be restaurants, but in the gift shops, it's probably I don't know. I'm not sure. That's a good
Okay.
question.
Yeah, because that can determine which card you're using for various different pieces of the vacation.
Yeah, that's a good thought. I hadn't
Yeah.
even thought.
So, how often do you guys go to Disney World? Are you planning another one of these trips already in the meantime? What's the plan there?
Well, that was our first time we'd gone to Disney World, and just me and my husband went, and we don't have any plans. I mean, maybe down the road if we all of a sudden have a bunch of points or time off or something that we're feeling like, "Let's go take the kids," but honestly, Disneyland's kind of our go-to, and we've just taken kids once. I have been quite a few times. We went a couple times growing up, and then in college, we were blowing our money at Disneyland and having the time of our lives. And but yeah, I would love to take the kids again. They loved it so much. My husband actually wasn't super excited to go for a few years. Like I kind of had to work on him. But I'm not kidding you. He loved it. He loved it so much and he had so much fun. So I don't know. I'm gonna try and sneak another trip. I don't know. Maybe within the next 2, 3 years. I don't know. There's so many things that we want to do. I don't know. It's hard.
What's the competing priorities?
Well, we just took a trip to Yellowstone and Grand Tetons. So that one was like a big trip. And then next year, we're planning to go to Canada. We've never been up there. And actually, my father in law lives up there. So that's kind of like our big one that we're like saving and planning and going to be putting a lot of stuff towards because we'll be flying, we'll be renting a car. I don't even know all the things that we'll be doing, but it's a lot. So there's just so many things. There's a lot of national parks we want to check out and just different places. I want to go everywhere, Julia. I do. This hobby has made me want to literally go everywhere.
I feel that. I also want to go everywhere where I'm like, okay, well, we can go everywhere. We can just do like around the world and ANA and business class all the time. Or we can do all of like the Japan flights or try like JetBlue Mint, do all of the European hacks. There's so many different things that you can do. I also want to go everywhere.
Yeah, and I feel like right now, like my main thing, I just really want to focus on family travel and a couple travel here and there and girls trip here and there as well, but I don't feel like I don't know, we're pretty just I don't know. Like we're not super fancy over here. We're just kind of Like, I don't really necessarily need business, first class, whatever at this point. Maybe sometime down the road, I will for sure. Like, I would love that. But right now, I just really want to try and make it affordable for our family. So I don't know. It's hard because there are so many places that we want to go. So it is kind of tricky figuring out like what are our priorities? How much time do we have before our oldest leaves the house? Where do we want to go before that happens? All those different things.
How old are your kids?
Our oldest is 14, and then we have 12 years, 10 or no, 9 years, and then 7 years.
It's a pretty good gap, and it's a pretty good spread for
Yeah.
age.
I feel like right now is like our sweet spot. So I feel like right now they're at such good ages to do anything, I feel like. So I'm like, we need to hit some of these ones the next few years, just make the most out of our time together.
For sure. Do they all have similar styles, or are some of them like, "Oh, I wanna do theme parks," and some are saying, "Oh, I wanna do more outdoorsy stuff." How do you kind of do family vote for where you're gonna go?
Yeah, so that's funny because we just got back from Yellowstone a couple weeks ago, and my oldest son, he did ask us all. He said, "Would you rather go to Disneyland or Yellowstone?" And he asked all of us. And I don't think he asked my husband, but the other 3 said Disneyland. My husband is very outdoorsy. He likes that too. I'm kind of both. I really like the nature, the outdoorsy, and I love Disneyland. I'm not joking. I really do. So I kind of like a good balance. So I feel like now we just did Yellowstone. Maybe I can slip Disneyland back in. I don't know when, but we're just trying to balance it.
What's your favorite thing to do at Disneyland? Are you a rides person?
I love the rides. I love the roller coasters, although I do not like Guardians of the Galaxy, Tower of Terror. That's not, I've done it twice and I'm never doing it again. But everything else, put me on and strap me in because it's fun. I love it. I love the atmosphere. I love the music. I love the attention to detail. It's so clean. It's so beautiful. It's magical. I'm a nerd, okay? If you haven't figured this out yet. I am a nerd. I really do love Disneyland. But the food, I love the food too. I love it all.
There's a lot to love. I don't think most people know this about me. I'm quite a Disney nerd. So, my sister was born in 1993, and when
Uh,
my mom was pregnant with her in 1992, I made my parents promise that if it was a boy, it would be named Aladdin, and if it were a girl, it would be named Jasmine.
Oh,
That's how my sister's name is Jasmine.
are you serious? That is adorable. Oh my gosh, I love that.
We're not sure if they would have actually named a boy Aladdin, but she came out a girl.
Probably a good thing. Jasmine is a cute name. That is so cute.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. So, as we kind of wrap up, and you've amassed all this knowledge about travel hacking, you've made like the mistakes or like don't get into 524 jail, everybody. What are some of your unique viewpoints that you have about the game of points and miles?
I think I would just say start where you are. I don't know how unique this is, but start where you are. Keep your money in check. If you're comfortable starting with no annual fee cards, that's fine. Start with that and move on when you're ready. And there's no rush for anything. And just know that mistakes are going to be made. And it's okay. It's okay. And honestly, I'm all about the earn and burn. And I just, yeah, kind of like I said earlier, I just really, I love this because it just allows you to create memories with your loved ones more often than maybe you would without doing the points and miles. So,
Yeah. And thank you for just saying that mistakes are going to be made, because I see so many people who just go into this analysis paralysis where they're so afraid to make a move because what if it's the wrong move? If you make the wrong move, time will pass. You took up a 5 over 24 slot. You signed up for a Nordstrom card. It's okay. Like, we'll make
yeah,
fun of you and then we'll move on. So it's
yeah,
okay to make mistakes. Everybody in this hobby makes mistakes. I have an entire story highlight of silly mistakes that people have made. So don't feel
yeah.
bad and just make some moves and you'll learn.
I love that. I totally agree 100%. I've made plenty of mistakes, believe me.
And what would you say is your best one-line piece of advice when it comes to points and miles and travel hacking that you would like to put on an Instagram graphic?
I would say create a plan and make it happen. You wanna
Yeah.
do something? Make it happen. You wanna dream up something? Make it happen. So, yeah, create a plan and make it happen.
Both of those things are very important. I feel like some people are just like, I'm just going to make stuff happen without a plan. And then you don't really know what to do with all of those points. And then they get devalued, they don't pool together, whatever it is. Or some people make a plan and then they just don't make it happen, where they just say, one day I'm going to apply for credit cards, I'm going to start travel hacking. And I'm like, you can make a little bit of moves, like try one card, see how you feel.
Yeah,
So
yeah, totally.
it's good advice. All right. And speaking of good advice, can you give a shout out to somebody on the internet who listeners should go follow because they also have great points and miles advice?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. There's so many. I love Marianne Maltuayan. I can't think of exactly how you spell that, but Maltuayan Marianne. She's super helpful, and I feel like she brings up things that maybe you don't think about, and I'm like, "Oh, you can do that?" She's really good with stuff like that. I love Travel Hacking Mom. I love your podcast. I've listened to every single episode.
Thank
Literally,
you.
I'm not kidding. Literally, I have. I don't know. There's just so many good ones. Max Miles Points is amazing. The stuff that he comes up with is so easy to understand. He's been so helpful. I'm just grateful for everybody because this community I've found out is very helpful. And I am so thankful because when you're kind of diving into something that you don't know everything about, it's nice to have nice people that are helpful and willing to say, "Hey, try this or do this." So, that was a few. Sorry, you asked for one.
Oh, you're good. More the merrier. And I do like that we have a really kind community on Instagram. I'm glad we're not like some points forums where you'll ask a question. People are like, how do you not already know what 5/24 is? Oh my God, please, like, just leave. And that's rude and it keeps people from getting into the hobby. So we like to
Yeah,
be nice.
yes, absolutely.
Cool. Well, where can we find you on the internet?
I am just on Instagram at Lori's Travel Hacks, and I haven't been on there a whole lot lately. Summer's kind of kicking my rear end with kids home and schedules and things like that. But I am on Instagram at Lori's Travel Hacks. So that's where you can find me.
Perfect. And yeah, for everybody listening, you don't have to like be on social media constantly. Actually, go enjoy the points and miles and travels that you get to earn. Go unplug for a couple weeks in Yellowstone. Enjoy time with your family. You don't have to just obsess over like
Yeah.
putting everything on Insta. I do,
I,
and I should take my own advice sometimes with that. But it's absolutely cool to enjoy all the free travel and not have to make an Instagram about it.
yeah, I agree, honestly. And that's one of my biggest things. Like, I can't just have my kids seeing me on my phone all day. Like, I just can't do that. So I need to be present. And it's something I struggle with, I'm being honest. But yeah, it is so important to enjoy. Like you said, I love what you said.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Lori, for coming onto the show today. It's been so nice to get to speak with you and to learn all of the different hacks about Disney World and Disneyland.
Thank you so much for having me. You are just wonderful. I just appreciate being on here. So thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Geobreeze Travel Podcast. If any of the cards mentioned in today's episode piqued your interest, please check out the links in the show notes for more information on any of the cards. Also, if you apply for a card using the links on that page, I may receive a commission too, so please and thank you. P.S. I hear the links work better in Internet Explorer or Safari, and sometimes the credit card applications tend to glitch out in Chrome. Additionally, it would mean the world to me if you could subscribe to this podcast, leave a 5-star review, and share it with a friend. And if you would like to make even more travel hacking friends, please sign up for the Patreon to access our monthly masterclass hangouts. We dive deep into a particular points program each month, and you'll get to ask all of your travel hacking questions and enjoy being around other people who enjoy points and miles just as much as you and I do. If you would like an invite to the next one, head over to geobreezetravel.com/hangouts to sign up to be on the invite list. Take care and happy travels!